Welcome back everyone, my name is Eltimar and we're going to be continuing our Let's Play of Wrath of the Righteous. Where we left off last time, we had just arrived at the Citadel. It's time to talk to the Storyteller and also to split our game into two different paths. So the first part of this video is just going to be us talking to the Storyteller, and the second part of the video is going to be us branching our game into the two paths. One, Trickster Ascension, and the other one, the Legendary Person one. The Storyteller turns to you calmly. Long months have passed, Commander, but even while you were on the other plane, I could hear your brave heart beating. That sound never stopped for a second. Finian laughs. You're a lively one, Grandpa Elf, always finding yourself somewhere in the most dangerous spots, but I'm glad to see you, although you'd be safer tucked up somewhere by a fire. How have things been in the last 6 months? The Queen showed us nothing but respect and fair treatment. After she decided to proceed with the crusade, many of us chose to stay with the unit ordered to protect the Wardstone until your return. It was an easier decision for me than for others. I had encountered you in the Abyss and I knew you were alive. But not everyone believed me. And then yesterday I had a vision. I was leafing through the pages that you had collected for me and suddenly I saw the future. Not the future clamoring to be told by the pages in my hand, but your future. The future of the person who first brought that page to me. In my vision, you returned from the Abyss, marked by new powers that wound around you like a snake. Your voice made the earth tremble, people and demons dropped to their knees, and Iomedae herself extended you a helping hand. But the only thing you were concerned with was the whereabouts of the banner that Queen Gelfrey had taken with her. The Storyteller shakes his head. I know what I saw is difficult to believe, but I'm in the habit of trusting my visions. So I hurried to the Citadel and to lay my hands on some of Queen Gelfrey's possessions, to try and discern where she went and where your banner is now. Do you know where the Queen went? It wasn't easy. I see the Queen's future and her past as if looking through shattered glass. Multiple visions come one after another, distorting the picture. The Queen is in mortal danger, at the crossroads of her fate, and her every step may prove fatal. But I did not give up, and fortune smiled upon me. I touched her goblet and learned where she was leading her army. Her Majesty decided to march for Eyes. A bold move, one worthy of a queen who is not accustomed to hiding. My. That was indeed a bold move for my dear cousin, no doubt about it. As bold as stepping into a volcano. This is an utterly unscientific method of acquiring information, and that's what makes it so interesting. I'll have to conduct a series of experiments involving you, to establish how you react to various objects, to identify patterns in the amount of information you receive from them. The Storyteller smiles. You've already said that, in exactly those words. You even conducted your experiments. You handed me some shards to hold, once you brought a huge club, and another time you gave me a live hedgehog, and then you said the experiment was a failure and immediately forgot all about it. Really? Well, if I decided to forget about it, it must mean I didn't learn anything of interest. I won't remember this time either. Nenio winks and looks around. So, what were we talking about? Eyes. The place sounds familiar. Can you remind me of the details? Oh, Eyes. It's the city that hangs over the Abyss. It was once the citadel of legendary rulers, the capital of Sarkoris. But now demons are tearing it apart, making it a mockery of its former glory. 2/3 of its magnificent streets and proud towers have collapsed into the world wound, but the city still holds on, just as Sarkoris holds on, defeated but refusing to die. The Storyteller nods. Yes, your arrival has changed everything. Attacked by 2 armies, we felt like a dilapidated palisade on the verge of being swept away by a giant wave, but with your return, we have become an indestructible wall that will withstand any blow. There's one more thing. The Storyteller pauses for a while. In the shattered fragments that form her fate, I can sense your presence, and I'm convinced that the Queen could sense it too. No one can say what your next encounter will lead to, but there's one thing I know for certain. Queen Gelfrey's fate and yours are tightly intertwined. Oh no, there are too many of them. Something hopeless. Don't fall back, hold the line. A huge, oily Nelfshni is waiting for you with his arms folded. Here comes the commander, kids. So, Commander, do you like what you see? You arrived just in time to hear your friends screaming for help. They trusted you, and look what happened to them. Do you actually think you can rescue them? Huh. Who do you think you are? You shouldn't have angered our master, mortal. He'll take away everything you have, your mind and your flesh included. You belong to him now. I will rescue my friends. The Nelfschnee burst into laughter. I'll rescue my friends? And how exactly will you do that, you pathetic Golarian maggot? What can you do on your own without your army? Yell inspirational speeches? Oh no, I'm so scared. And then all the pathetic defenders of Dresden will be inspired and turn into an invincible force? Yeah, that's usually how it goes in fairy tales. Do you know what happens in real life? Your friends will rot in my lord's dungeon, and their bones will join the myriad others. We'll wipe your army out, and you along with it, but I won't kill everyone. I'll lock you in a cage, then start torturing your friends. Once I'm done with them, they'll come and spit in your face. They'll tell you themselves what torment you doomed them to. With a pointed yawn, the Merilith remarks casually, it's time to end this mortal. He has nothing to surprise us with. You're just a jumped-up mortal insect. You are nobody. We're going to start with the Trickster path. Follow your instincts. Oh, I'm a nobody. I'm just a scrawny mortal. I couldn't even dream of competing with a tower of might and authority such as yourself. But you know, you'd better flee. The King of Dresden is on his way here, and he's not someone you want to mess with. Power rushes through your body, almost ripping it apart. The wound in your chest bursts open in a spray of bloody droplets. The might bestowed upon you by the Abyss and Aurilu Vorlesh erupts into this world, and you pay for it in the purest agony. What's this rubbish you're mumbling about? What king? If you mean your waste of a queen, she won't help. Forget about her. She's gone and she won't be coming back. Her corpse is already... Hey, what's that noise? Onward! Onward! My army, my knights, my valorous hawks, my proud stags, my saber-toothed Smilodons. Thrash this scum, kick them out of my capital. Hail to the king! Bottoms up, demons down. The king's entourage spills down the street after him. They walk, staggering and breathing wine vapors, each dressed in their own fashion, bawling songs at the top of their lungs. A hilarious sight, but not to the demons, being effortlessly stomped into the cobblestones by the courtiers. This is your entire army, a bunch of drunkards? That's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Look at them swaying. Listen to them singing. Oh, I can't take it, my sides. The demon laughs, hiccuping and snorting, his huge fat body shaking violently with irrepressible laughter. Are they exploding from laughter? Damn. That was pretty cool. Not exactly how I thought that was going to go down, but oh my god, we're giant. Legendary proportions. And here comes Iomade. An incredible silence suddenly descends over the city. It's broken by the solemn sound of fanfare that seems to come from far away. Everywhere and nowhere all at once, all eyes are turned to the huge stained glass window of the city's main cathedral. It begins to glow with a soft light, and in the next breath a lone figure steps out of the glass onto the cobblestones of Dresden.
Knight Commander, at last we meet.
There is no mistaking her, Iomade, the goddess who has deigned to descend to the world of mortals. Your companions shield their faces, unable to withstand her radiance. The surviving demons quiver, the townsfolk fall to their knees, but the deity's eyes are on you and you alone. Well, I'm gonna make an obscene gesture because it's the only chaotic option.
On any other occasion, I would punish you for such disrespect, but that is not why I have come here today. I suppose you are asking yourself why I am here. Gods must not interfere directly in the affairs of mortals. But what is happening here, in the World Wound, is no longer the concern of mortals alone.
Oops, hit the wrong button.
And this is proof. This fortress has witnessed so many horrors and miracles. It makes me wonder how it still stands.
For a moment, the goddess diverts her eyes from your face and looks out over Dresden, surveying the chaos caused by the recent battle and the manifestation of your power.
The power that lives in you is alluring, unhinged, and can break the laws of reality itself. It is dangerous. You have secured another victory. But in exchange, you have let your followers fall into the grip of insanity. Is this truly your path? Do you really hope to prevail over chaos with more chaos? But I did not come here to reproach you, or to bewail the fate of the unfortunate defenders of Dresden. I wish to stop the forces of evil and defend Golarion, both from Daskari's violent rage and from Nocticula's insidiousness. But that is not my only goal. I have come here to restore justice, for justice is the birthright of all. That's why I hail you as a hero who has triumphed over the demons many times. At the same time, I grieve for you, as for a soul that is caught in a web of demonic deceit and villainy.
I've achieved more in my crusade than all the other crusaders achieved in 100 years, so if you think you're going to criticize me for using my power, think again.
I am not here to offer reproach. I am here to warn you. In that moment, when my poor herald was being torn apart by monsters, he found the strength to send me a message about what he had learned in the Abyss. You were in Illusionera, where you spoke with the Lady in Shadow and the Architect of the World Wound. They confessed what they had done to you, but they did not reveal the whole truth. Both you and this unfortunate world will have to pay dearly for the power that they so generously bestowed upon you. But all is not yet lost. That is why I have come.
The walls of Dresden shake again, and with a ringing laugh, a black shadow appears before the shining goddess, Nocticula in the flesh. Standing beside her is Aureliu Vorlash, who stares at the goddess with ice-cold rage in her eyes.
Who here has been taking my name in vain? Ah, it's you, the Inheritor. What's this? Our worst fears have come to pass. The gods are flocking to Galarian. This merry little tinderbox could ignite at any moment, reducing the material plane to dust.
The succubus makes Iomede's title sound like an elegant insult.
I did not come here to fight.
Oh, really? I didn't realize you were good for anything else. Forgive me, that was unfair of me. Judging by your successes over the last 100 years, fighting is not your forte. After all, the wound is still there, as far as I know. So why are you here? If you have come to meddle in my affairs, don't expect me simply to stand aside.
This party's really getting started now. Who'll be next to arrive? Kaden Kalen, please? Or perhaps Kalian? Kalian.
The two of us will be more than enough. Listen to what I have to tell you. If she wishes to be present for this conversation, so much the better. Do you hear me, Nocticula? You and your servant are under no obligation to leave. I have come here to shed the light of truth. Let us see if you both can withstand its merciless radiance. I cannot change the flow of mortal history by force. After all, the world wound is their doing, although committed at the behest of the Abyss. But sometimes force is unnecessary, and truthful words are all it takes.
The goddess who was mortal not so long ago is eager to judge us for our sins now. My sin, to be precise. What lies behind your eagerness, proud Iomede? Righteous wrath? Or perhaps fear? Watch out. A simple mortal woman has learned how to grant powers to others. Powers which are beyond the wildest dreams of many Imperial lords. This must be stopped, forbidden, taken away immediately. After all, what need will we have for all these arrogant gods once we become their equals?
Aureliu smiles coldly.
Silence. It's impolite to interrupt your elders. But you know, Inheritor, she does have a point. What are you going to do now? Break my weapon, which has made so many victories possible, and only because he received that weapon from my profane hands, and the entire affair must therefore be profane also? What real reasons do you have? Save those born of your envy, your capriciousness, and your suspicions?
Nocticula's cold gaze makes Aureliu press her lips into a thin line.
My reasons are quite real, as you well know. That is why you appeared here in such haste, is it not? You have woven a delicate lace of half-truths, Nocticula. From you and your servant, the Knight Commander has learned that he is bound to the world wound, that he is slowly dying because of its influence, and that he is yet capable of closing it. But you withheld a crucial piece of information. You never told him that closing the wound won't save him from death. For this lock will destroy the key to which it is bound. The one who closes the world wound will die along with it.
Fury rings in the voice of the goddess.
That is true. I tried to tell you back in Illusionera, but I was not allowed to. It is an unavoidable consequence of this process. To stitch two planes together as I have stitched Galarian and the Abyss, the soul of a mortal must be woven with the essence of the Abyss. To undo this seam, the original soul, the key, must be ripped apart. No one could survive such a process.
Well, now I'm starting to finally understand the rules of this game.
Yes. The power that Nahindrian crystals grant you will bring about nothing but your own demise. The branches of the Tree of Sin are vast and verdant, but its only fruit is death. You will not be able to save yourself unless you reject everything that has been foisted upon you. Now you know everything.
No, we're not quite finished with the revelations yet. Few secrets remain to be revealed, but they will be worth the wait.
Aurilu's voice rings with surprising, somewhat feral delight.
Does this look familiar? Do you remember the similar wound above your own heart? I have given you enough hints. Come on, ask me the question I have been waiting for.
With a flick of the witch's wrist, something changes in her as if a veil has fallen, one so thin that it was almost invisible, which had clouded your vision. Nonetheless, now you can see what was hidden before, a deep open wound above Aurilu's heart. The wound pulsates as blood drips from it. Sorry about that, I had to pause really quickly because I had to sneeze. I received my wound because you, Aurilu, implanted the essence of the Abyss in my soul when you expanded the world wound. My question is, why do you have a similar wound? Could it be because you used your own soul as a key when you first opened the world wound?
That's right. And this means that the world wound actually has two keys.
A smile dawns on Aurilu's face, approving and triumphant.
Good question. Just imagine. I have wasted so much time chasing the key to the world wound, and the key was right under my nose this whole time. Aurilu, my love, come over here.
Nocticula looks at Aurilu with fresh eyes, predatory curiosity written on her face. Aurilu does not look like someone who has been cornered. Without a trace of fear, she gives you a faint nod and makes a barely discernible gesture with her hand, and disappears as if she were never even here.
Wait, I said wait! That little bitch. I knew she would betray me sooner or later, but I never expected such an idiotic stunt. But everything seems to be falling into place quite nicely. You see, you don't have to die after all. Aurilu opened the world wound, and Aurilu will be the one who closes it, whether she likes it or not. Although, someone will need to catch her first, and this will require certain powers.
Yes, Aurilu Vorlesh will pay for her crimes with her life. Her flight confirms that our suppositions were correct. But now we know that the world wound can be sealed with her blood. You have no reasons to remain indebted to the Abyss and indulge the Queen of the Succubi. Reject her gift, and secure your victory while being the person you were before Aurilu Vorlesh corrupted you. Win as a mortal, and become a legend among mortals.
She's talking rubbish. True, we gave you the power, but it was you who chose how to wield it. It belongs to you, and it will remain yours, so you can do whatever you want with it. But first, you must use it to close the world wound. You aren't going to catch this world's most powerful witch, and a half-demon one at that, with your bare hands, are you?
Well, I already know what my decision's going to be, so before I make my decision, I want to ask Ayamedi some questions.
Ask, and you shall have your answers.
Goddess, can you help me cleanse my soul of the influence of the Abyss?
Aurilu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
You gained your own power from the Starstone. How is my power any different?
My ascension was not accomplished in one day, and even the test of the Starstone was only one of its stages. I did not merely gain power, I embraced a sacred duty. Your power, on the other hand, stems not from long hours of study, not from trials. It is not the natural talent you were born with and carefully honed throughout your life. It is the result of an evil soul's deranged experiment with the blood of dead abyssal lords.
You imprisoned entire hosts of angels inside the Wardstones. Why did you do that to them?
Every one of my angels volunteered for that mission. They all knew what kind of watch they were going to keep. They knew that it would be a hard and exhausting battle, but that the lives of mortals throughout Golarion would depend on it. Alas, angels' minds can be as fragile as the minds of mortals. In less than 100 years, many wavered and wished to break the oath they had sworn. I do not blame them. I blame myself for allowing them to take on a burden that was too heavy for them.
Did you send your herald to follow me to the Abyss, or did he go of his own free will?
He acted on his own noble impulse, and I did not stop him. I also did not try to dispel his misconception about you being my chosen one. I do not lie, but both celestial beings and mortals can be mistaken.
She doesn't lie, sure. She merely withholds some of the truth. For the noblest of reasons, of course.
The demon grins. Do you know what happened to your herald?
My herald, my loyal companion, was captured, and now demons are using him to attack Dresden. They're holding him in the Ivory Labyrinth, Baphomet's realm of the Abyss. It is a place I cannot go, not even to save my faithful friend. For doing so would start an interplanar war.
Oh no, not an interplanar war, not like the one that's already going on right now.
Right now, as we speak, Baphomet's servants are torturing the hand of the Inheritor. Tormented and anguished, he reaches for you with his thoughts and his soul. I cannot tell if he sees you as a great unfulfilled hope or a last chance. But Baphomet knows well how to exploit such desperate yearning.
Also previously she said, deep grief flashes across the goddess's stern face.
He has turned my herald into a source of power to open temporary portals. They do not last long, but they lead from the dungeon where the hand of the Inheritor suffers, right to your doorstep. Baphomet does not need to lead his armies through the rifts. Now he can send them right here. As long as my poor herald remains in the hands of that monster, this will not stop. I cannot say if it is still possible to save him, or if putting him out of his misery is the only way. I cannot openly ask you to intervene. But if you decide to do so, you will be helping both yourself and the one who chose the martyr's path when he followed you into the Abyss.
Ever since I acquired these powers, everyone has believed me to be Iamede's chosen. Why didn't you do anything to dispel this misunderstanding?
At first, I did not know who you were, or where your powers originated. This was revealed to me only when my herald offered up his dying prayer from the depths of the Abyss. And following his desperate plea, I sought to confirm my suspicions. Until that point, I had observed you without intervening. After all, your crusade was securing victories, the first Golarion had seen in many years, so even if it was not I who had sent you into battle, it felt unfair to undermine you.
In other words, our Imperial guest had no problem with your power, as long as she didn't know where it came from. She didn't even share her suspicions with her own herald. And after all that, someone dares to claim that demons are the most deceitful creatures?
You should not blame someone else if you base your accusations on vague suspicions rather than solid proof. You call my behavior deceitful. You, of all creatures, who kept the commander ignorant of the fate you had chosen for him? Indeed, the insolence of demons knows no bounds.
A demon lord stands before you. Why don't you destroy her right here and now?
I could, but then every other demon lord would decide that he or she was next and stand against me. In response to that, the Imperial Lords would take up arms. Then Hell, Heaven, and Elysium would join the conflict. A war would break out, one which mortals could not hope to survive.
Why have you decided to descend to the world of mortals at this particular moment?
As I have already said, I am here to open your eyes to Nocticula's lies and to prevent more calamities in the future. You are at a crossroads now. I will not force you to do anything, but you needed to learn the truth and have the chance to cleanse yourself.
Why did Aurilu do everything possible to lead us to the idea that she was a key too?
The impulses that drive a soul as black as hers are beyond my comprehension. Perhaps she was startled by my arrival and decided not to bother keeping a secret that was bound to be revealed. Or perhaps she is up to some cunning scheme. Be on your guard. The architect of the World Wound will surely try to bring you down. For if she truly is a key, then it must mean that she will die sooner or later due to the influence of her own horrible creation. And that means that sacrificing you is her only chance of survival.
Explain it to me again. How exactly can you help me cleanse myself of the influence of the Abyss?
Aurilu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
I have no more questions.
It is time to make your decision then.
Nocticula, I got some questions for you.
If you have questions, ask away.
Why did you try to hide the fact that closing the world wound would kill me?
Because if I'd told you the truth, you would have refused to do it. But you're not angry with me, are you? After all, everything has worked out perfectly fine. We found another key. So now you can live and enjoy your life. Provided that you catch Aurilu, of course.
Now that we've decided to use Aurilu to close the world wound, do you still want to help me keep the power, do you still want me to keep the powers I acquired from her?
Of course I do. Firstly, you'll need those powers to catch Aurilu and bring her to Threshold. Surely you don't think she'll willingly fall into your hands, and the demonic hordes will politely make way for you. And secondly, the powers Aurilu gave you protect you from dying before your time. None of us want the wound to kill you prematurely.
Nocticula flashes a predatory grin at us.
You are extremely useful to me alive. After all, if you let Aurilu slip through your fingers, we can always go back to the original plan for closing the wound.
Aurilu deliberately led us to the idea she was a key too. Why?
Apparently, she understood that her secret was about to be revealed anyway, so she decided to leave in style. What human female over 100 years old wouldn't feel flattered at being the center of attention? Although she could have other reasons. She obviously wanted us to understand everything and immediately rush off in pursuit of her. She's probably been preparing for a war of all against all for a long time, and now she wants to wage it on her own terms. Expect treachery and traps wherever you go.
Where could Aurilu have fled to?
No, let's think. She's hidden in the Abyss before. She won't dare to return there now. Not only to my realm, but to any other either. Even if Baphomet and Discari both take it upon themselves to guard Aurilu personally, that won't stop me from sneaking in, slitting her throat, and leaving undetected. And she knows that.
Nocticula taps her manicured claw on her chin.
If I were her, I would hide in a place where the powers of her enemies were uncertain, and her own power was close to unlimited. I say you should look for her here, in the World Wound.
Aren't you afraid to stand in the presence of the goddess?
Tut tut, how rude. I wouldn't say the girl is that hideous. I admit her face is far from perfect. Her body too, to be honest. But all in all, not bad. I've seen worse.
Nocticula pointedly looks at Ayamade up and down.
Your theatrics are too transparent to offend me, demon. At least, they can hardly offend me more than the very fact of your existence.
Do you really plan to use me to become a goddess yourself?
That is nothing but the wild speculation of a little girl who gained celestial power through no merit of her own and now fears that others may do the same, forcing her to share her place in the spotlight. Do I want to become a goddess? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? Can you help me with that? Sadly, no. Of course, Arilu used to blather on about how her brilliant invention could bake gods like pies. But between you and me, the cleverer the inventor, the larger their ego becomes. So far, she hasn't managed to create anything stronger than you. And no offense, but you're no match for any deity.
No more
Very
questions.
well. It's time for you to make your decision then.
Want to ask my companions for advice. What do you think about all this?
After I rejected my demonic past, I lost some of my previous abilities. It was difficult, but I coped with it. You are stronger than me, so there's no way that you won't get through this. Cast off the power of the abyss and follow your own path.
Don't even try to tell me that you are seriously considering rejecting your power. Power grants you the freedom to do whatever you wish. And you are prepared to simply toss it aside to become a nobody?
Your power doesn't lie in magic tricks. You know it doesn't. Your real power is inside you. You can win without tricks. I will help you.
As a cave monster who's going to grow old and die in about 10 years' time, I can tell you this. There's no power in the world that's worth selling yourself out to the abyss for. Being the invincible companion of the magical commander was fun and all, but we don't need it. It doesn't really matter how much magic they've heaped on you. You're the commander because you have the heart and mind of a true commander. Screw your power. Don't betray yourself. That way, we'll win.
I don't see any reason for deliberation. Your power is chaotic and capricious, and it originates from a demonic source. I doubt you can even control it. Heed the words of the goddess. Reject it. And then we will hunt down Arilu Vorlesh and deliver the punishment she deserves.
Ayomide has spoken. What more is there to say? If there's a way to get rid of this demonic filth, do it.
I do not think the source of your power really matters. What matters is how you use it.
Someone pinch me. We are standing in the presence of the most pompous goddess in the world, debating whether we should listen to her or send her packing along with her invaluable opinions. I shall remember this moment for the rest of my life. Even as I stand in Pharasma's court, I shall tell this story to anyone who will listen. As for your question, by all means, tell her to go to the abyss. The power is yours, and yours alone.
I hate it when they corner you and demand answers out of you. But fine, I'll tell you what I think.
Woljif casts aside, wastes a glance at Ayamade and winces.
With you, I've always had my freedom, Chief, so I'll speak freely. Be who you are, and don't count on gifts from nobody. You gave me the same advice back in Alishanira, remember? And I've never regretted following it. Maybe you won't have the powers you had before, but do you really need somebody's permission to do what you want to do? That's what it's all about!
In another situation, I would have said this was all nonsense. But when we started working together, you were just an extravagant and artistic person. But now your powers are influencing you more and more. You're losing your sanity. And I'm afraid it won't be long before you turn into a raving lunatic who goes around swearing that the moon is made of cheese.
It is.
Your powers are interesting from a theoretical point of view.
You are an experiment started by Arilu Vorlesh, and terminating it before it is complete would be foolish, not to mention impolite.
Made a decision.
I am waiting for your answer. I hope you will choose wisely.
I will.
Quite right. Make your choice, and make it the right one.
I think we get to choose right now. We're taking Trickster. And we get something new here. We can choose a couple different things. One of them, it's pretty good as Mythic Sneak Attacker. You know what? I'm going to pull up my build, because I honestly don't remember what I was supposed to take for this level, and I wasn't prepared to be choosing the power, even though I knew that was happening in this one. Because I am dumb. It's 7 in the morning. I'm allowed to be a little dumb. Oh, we're going to take Weapon Focus. Mythic Weapon Focus. Scythe, give that extra plus to hit. We're going to take, yeah, I think that's the second last one we can do, actually. Yeah, we have one more Mythic feat, but it's at the very end of the game, so it really doesn't matter at that point. These all don't matter now. We can do the Entangled one, I guess. Do Athletics check to remove one negative condition affecting us. I guess that would be okay if we pump some points into Athletics. We also have a lot of Strength, so should be easy to do. Standard action, attempt trigger check to dispel any effects on the target or the ground. Just dispel magic. It's a trickery check with -10, which we're never going to pass that. Stealth is actually pretty good, honestly. We can put some points into stealth and become invisible. Yeah, you know what? Sure. Knowledge Arcana. Every time you identify an item, you get an additional random minor effect. That's not as important now. We can do AOOs. You're walking through people, which is interesting. Instead of avoiding attacks of opportunity by acrobatics, you can instead make them every time you avoid one. Which we don't have a good acrobatic skill, so we're not going to be able to make them anyways. I might just do the stealth one, honestly. What's rank 3 stealth do? We can avoid spells targeted. We gain spell resistance equal to our stealth bonus -10. That's actually pretty good too. Do we get a level 3 one this level? We don't. So we just get the level 2 version of whatever these are. Lose the will to fight completely. Enemies affected by your demonics must succeed at a will save or become paralyzed and complete. Oh yeah, no. We're taking the persuasion one for sure. That's insanely good. Don't care about which spell we're going to take. We're never going to use it. And we're going to take Stinking Cloud because I don't care. And we're going to grab, I don't know, Reduce Person. Also don't care. Oh, we get a level 5 spell also. Not super important. We'll grab, I don't know, Shadow Evocation. Sure. We actually get a level 6 spell, which actually is useful. So we'll grab Cat's Grace. And we'll grab, I guess Eagle Splendor's fine. What, int? Charisma. Sure, why not? I don't care. The choice is made. All you have to do is announce it to everyone. You can't really expect me to cut this caper short this close to the big finale.
Your pride will destroy you, and perhaps all of Golarion with you. But I shall not intervene now, so as to avoid causing even more suffering to this world. Farewell.
Oh yes, a war with the Abyss is the best time and place to play jokes. At least now I can clearly understand your true motives.
It would have been so foolish for you to reject your powers. So many victories, so many achievements lie ahead for you. Well, go now. Capture Arilu, and prove which of you is making the best use of her invention. I'll be watching you.
Noctequila gives you a playful wink, then the Demon Lord blows us a kiss and disappears. Alright, we have returned. We got our powers back, or we got more powers, I should say. We are now locked into the Trickster path on this playthrough, which is perfectly fine. And we're going to have 2 opposing playthroughs going on. 1 Trickster, 1 Legend. I'm just waiting to see what loads in. If there's nothing going on, we're going to call the video there. If there's a conversation, we'll quickly do it, then call it there. Taking a sweet time to load, though. Really is taking a long time at that 100%. Oh, there we go. So it took 2 days to fix up the fort a little bit, I guess. We got some soldiers back doing push-ups in armor. That's gotta be pretty hard. I mean, the town needs a little work, but it doesn't look that bad. They fixed it up pretty well. I don't know why we're looking at an empty square, to be completely honest with you, but fair enough. This is all messed up. We need to fix that some more. Alright, so we do have Anevia.
I must replenish my powers.
Anevia is staggering slightly. Truth be told, you haven't seen a completely sober person since the moment the goddess and the demoness departed the merry city of Dresden, leaving behind his jubilant crowd, headed by the king. Anevia approaches you and salutes you with her full tankard. You notice a pair of fluffy ears on her head. Here's to you, and to Dresden. I knew you'd be back, and it'd be like old times again, but even better. Shame Erebeth couldn't be here. Anevia turns glum for a moment before taking another deep swig. She's always so serious. A little bit of good news would do her good. What is that on your head? These? Anevia touches the pointed or fluffy things on her head, then confidently declares, they're ears. Is there a sober soul left in the city? Sober? Anevia thinks hard. Probably not. Why would you want him to be? Anevia, is it just me, or are your wits a little less sharp than usual? My wits not a chance. My responses are just a little slow. My wits are as sharp as ever. Alright, let's get to work. We still haven't won this war. Right you are, let's get to work. You got a lot on your plate, no doubt about it. You got problems to deal with and demons to kill and so much beer left to drink. How are we going to manage it all in that time? Or that in time? I suppose a report for me would be a good place to start. What do you want to know first? What's the situation at the front? Unknown. Her Majesty mustered all the troops she could, raised the Sword of Valor, and advanced on the demons. There's been no word from her since she left. Perhaps she's boldly taking eyes even now. Maybe her bones have already been picked clean by demons. We don't know. And I doubt anyone except you will be able to find out. But that's not all. Baphomet's minions have been keep taking swipes at us. The scumbags are holed up somewhere. The Ivory Labyrinth, I'll bet. And they keep opening portals in different spots, dropping off a dozen units and then closing the portal before we can get to them. We lost more scouts than I care to admit before we figured out how they're pulling off that little trick. So here's what I'm thinking. Maybe you could get to one of those portals in time. You could be ready for them somehow, so that when one opens you can get inside and crack some skulls. They might even be holding the poor Herald in there. If he's alive you can free him. How do you feel about seeing the goddess in the flesh? My ears are still ringing from those trumpets. After witnessing that sight, I don't think I could be surprised by anything ever again. As you just heard, I'm here. I have to catch a Relu. Any idea where I should look for her? Not especially. She's been roaming the Abyss all this time, but now that that avenue's closed to her, Nocticula and the other demon lords are all slavering for a piece of her. I think she's somewhere around here, in the Wound, some nasty little place like Eyes, or maybe she went as far as Threshold. An entire army of demons enhanced by Nahindrian crystals was being sent here. It's being led by a demon named Mutasafin. Do you know anything about that? Scouts reported the movements of a large demon army far southwest of Dresden. They were marching across a dried lake. There used to be a Sarkorian holy place there, I heard, but where they went, nobody knows. They're not headed for us, that's for sure. At least not yet. Thanks. I'll be setting off. The demons may as well pack up their stuff now and run back to the Abyss, instead of waiting for you to boot them all the way home. You're having a cozy chit-chat with goddesses. I mean, come on. You could take the demons out with your right hand tied behind your back, or are you a lefty? Then with your left hand tied behind your back. But you know, it'll be kind of boring if you hoard all the fun yourself. Word of your return's already out. More and more folks are flocking to Dresden, so when you're ready to throw your big bye-bye batch for the demon scum, make sure you come back here first, so your army will be waiting. You won't forget about us, will you? Hate to miss a good party. And you know, Kyrieru wouldn't want to miss out on the fun either. She's somewhere out there, at the front, smashing demons like it's going out of style. Find her for me, will you? Tell her there's a barrel of top-notch beer waiting for her here, so she better hurry up on back. And, well, keep an eye on her. She'll rush right into the thick of things without a second thought. But I know she'll be safe with you at her side. More people are coming in. Rachel looks slightly more tense than usual. Eltimar, I have a fairly important news. I will do my best to be brief. The Hell Knight orders have not reacted well to the developments I mentioned in my latest report, specifically regarding the source of your power. The very notion that we have been cooperating with a weapon forged by Aureliu Vorlesh and Nocticula has caused discontent. The orders have not issued any official edicts, but many chapters and high-ranking knights have been recalled from their assignments and barricaded themselves in one of our outposts. The one you know. In fact, I suggest you go there and resolve the issue between the orders and the Crusaders. This is a matter of importance. Very well, I will go there as soon as possible. Excellent, that's all I had to report. I will now return to my duties and you may attend your other affairs. Arishale, what's up? Eltimar? The succubus gazes at you despondently. She always speaks quietly, but now her voice is a barely audible whisper. In my dream, a fire destroyed almost everything. The only thing that survived was the table. I've returned to my dream world so many times. The nightmare still lurks there, but I want to understand why this table is so important. Why did it survive the fire? I can't figure out what makes it special. It looks like a simple piece of furniture. It just stands there. What's it supposed to mean? What am I doing wrong? Is your nightmare still attacking you? Not openly. It still lurks in the shadows, gnawing at my soul from within. It never leaves me alone, but it hasn't tried to fight me again yet. Would you like to enter your dream again? I don't think that'll help. We've already been there together, and no, there must be something else. I must look at it from a different side. But how do you find the other side of a dream? The other side of a dream is called reality. Maybe this table represents something you are supposed to do in real life. You might be right. Arishale brightens considerably. But what exactly should I do? Find a table? Buy one? Perhaps I should learn the craft of a carpenter and make myself one? So many possibilities, and I don't even know where to begin. Her excitement gives way to dismay. Perhaps Desna can help you solve the riddle. But she was the one who asked me to solve it. I don't think she's going to tell me the answer. I must find it myself, but how? Where'd it come from? Where did it come from? Arishale considers your question. She taps her lips thoughtfully. Oh, I remember now. There's a loaf of bread on the table. That was Nevia's dream, remember? She said she wanted to learn how to bake. The bread went up in flames with the other fragments of her dreams, but the table remained. If this table came from Nevia's dream, perhaps you should talk to her. I've been living among mortals for a while now, but there's still so much I don't understand about your kind. How you live, what you dream about. You're right. We should ask Nevia. It's part of her dream after all. That's a good idea, but the succubus shifts from foot to foot reluctantly. Could you please talk to her instead? I don't even know how to begin a conversation like this. It's so personal. Please ask her and I'll stay nearby. She knows you're there. She did last time. Oh my god. Commander, the Inquisitor greets you with a bow. I am sincerely gladdened by your return, and I was delighted to hear of your recent victories. It's a shame that my duty has kept me away from the front line. I would like to take up place in the ranks of your Crusaders, and perhaps I will still have a chance to do so, but before that happens, we must address another issue. I suppose you've already guessed what brought me here. We parted ways after the discovery we made at Count Erenday's estate. You and I both know that the Count became a conduit for an unknown entity, which I call the Other. I retreated to Nerosian and went beyond Mendev's borders, looking for mentions of such entities and ways to fight them. Now that my search has borne fruit, I am ready to tell you about it. And? I must be honest, I still don't know what it is. However, I managed to find some evidence of similar incidents, individuals who, in a horrible moment in their life, became a gateway for an unknown entity. The most curious part is that all these cases appear almost sequential. They happen in various corners of Golarion, but no two incidents ever occurred at the same time. This leads me to think that we are dealing with a single entity, one that has been secretly present in our world for a long time, merely changing its gateways on occasion. While I do not know what this entity is, I managed to find something of great value. A Varisian arcanist managed to pick up the trail of the Other and invented a ritual to weaken and bind it. She died under very suspicious circumstances. Her decapitated body was found in her laboratory. Her head was never found, but her notes survived, including the description of this ritual. I've discussed it with several highly esteemed experts in magic, and I'm inclined to consider this a reliable weapon. We can use the ritual to lure the entity out, find it, and probably exterminate it. But to do that, I'll need your assistance, Commander. What do we need to do? We must carefully prepare the ritual and then bring Count Erenday to the designated location. The ritual will lure out the Other, weaken its connection with the Count, and bind its essence to our anchor, or to our world like an anchor. The last part is especially important. All the evidence indicates that while the gateway is active, the Other can freely travel between the material plane and some unknown space that lies beyond. If we fail to bind the Other with the ritual, it will either escape or, in the worst case scenario, drag us into its realm. Hence, we must lure it out and then, I suppose, defeat it. There's one more issue, aside from the fact that we have to fight this incredibly powerful and horrifying creature. The Other's suspicion must not be aroused until the very last moment, and this means the Count must know nothing as well. The best course of action will be to take the Count to the designated location without telling him the reason for the journey. Then we must frighten him and make it appear that his life is in danger. The Other will believe that his gateway is in peril, and then I hope it'll show up to protect it. The ritual circle will work as a trap, but it is crucial, and I stress this, that we convince the entity that we know nothing of its existence, and that it is Darren who is in danger, not the entity itself. Otherwise, there's no knowing what may happen. And I don't want to give the adversary any chance to outmaneuver us. If Darren is the gateway, can't we just slam the gateway shut and leave the Other on the other side? We can, by killing the Count, the Inquisitor answers simply, but firstly, I'm not sure that the Other won't try and protect the gateway. In that case, we still have to face it unprepared, and secondly, I'm opposed to this idea in principle. Sometimes Inquisitors make hard decisions. I have a great many in my lifetime. For instance, I can kill a person possessed by demons if he or she is in imminent risk of taking many lives. and I have no time to perform an exorcism, but in this instance, the situation is not so critical. We have a way of fighting the other, and I will not commit to cold-blooded murder, not even the murder of someone as disgraceful as Count Arenday. Are you sure this other is hostile towards us? In all this time, it's never tried to attack me. I am certain this entity is dark and truly evil. The evidence and my instincts are, as an Inquisitor, are undeniable. Wherever the other manifests itself, strange and ominous things begin to happen. In particular, I am positive that it's responsible for all the magically decapitated corpses, the ones that were found at Heaven's Edge after the tragedy and in Canabris after Discari's attack. In both places, some of the corpses belonged to civilians and others to demons, and in Canabris, some of the victims were cultists. I'm convinced that the other is pursuing some interest of its own, and thus far it has ruthlessly exterminated anyone who learns of his existence. And now you and I know that it exists. Draw your own conclusion. Why do you think the other will appear to protect Darren? The Count has been in danger many times before and nothing special ever happened. You have a special connection with your companions, Commander. You shared part of your mythical powers with them. They journeyed through the abyss with you and survived to tell the tale. I believe the other understands this. You must also understand how dangerous it would be if you were to become not a benefactor, but an enemy to its gateway. I'm certain that it'll react to a threat coming from you as opposed to ordinary encounters with demons and cultists. Alright, I'll help you. Thank you. Now let's go over the entire operation once more. I'm convinced that we must lure the other out somewhere far from Dresden and other populated areas to avoid civilian casualties. I've chosen a suitable location within the World Wound. I'll mark it on your map. You must bring the Count there without alerting him to what is about to happen. I assume another foray into the World Wound will hardly raise his suspicions. I'll await you there, with the ritual circle prepared, but before we reach the crucial moment, you must make the Count and the other believe that the Count is in danger. I suppose the easiest way to do that would be to tell him that you made a deal with the Mendev Inquisition and the Count will have to face punishment for his crimes, real or imaginary. I'll find a way to intimidate him, but you must play along. We need to provoke the other to come out and protect its gateway. That's when we finish it off once and for all. In any case, this case will be my greatest triumph or my greatest failure, but I firmly believe it must be done. Remember my words, the other must be convinced that we are not a threat to the Count and that we know nothing of its existence. The slightest suspicion could prove fatal for us. Until we meet again, Commander, may the gods be with us. Is that it? Are we finally Nope, of course not. Lathamus, a pale ghostly image appears in front of you. You recognize Lathamus the Antiquarian, the sculler you helped some time ago. His translucent form flickers intermittently and you have difficulty making out his words. Commander, it's Themis. Won't be maintained spell for long. Open door, treasure room, please hurry. I am on my way. I'll be waiting. The vision of Lathamus flickers and fades. Dear God, there's too many conversations when you come back. Sakobanath beams at you. You're truly magnificent. I made the right decision when I bet on you. You descended into the abyss and returned to the mortal world in style. You earned the favor of both my sister and the sword-swinging upstart. Oh, and on that note, allow me to congratulate you as well. Your city is now a sight to behold. There is joy and happiness everywhere you look. It's a never-ending celebration, and I can see your influence at work. This city is a reflection of you, just like my realm is a reflection of my refined taste, and Alushanira reflects my sister's lousy personality. Any news from the council? Do you think I'd be here if I didn't have news? Of course I would. I enjoy visiting you. It's always a pleasure to see your lovely face, but I do have news. Do you remember when our feathered friend flew off on a sudden whim? Well, he's returned, and he's brought something important with him. He looks very smug, but he won't tell us what it is. He just pats his bag and preens his feathers. He isn't going to reveal anything to the council until you arrive, so please hurry. We're all waiting for you. See you soon. Oh my god, there's too many people. Commander, you look up and see Melissa, the green-eyed fisherwoman from the village of Chili Creek. Her hair's a mess and her face and clothes are covered in soot. It looks as though she's traveled here in a hurry and met with a few dangers along the way. Help, please. Help me. He's gone crazy. He will kill him. What happened? Do you remember Jernok, the cleric who came to our village a year ago? The locals weren't very welcoming to him back then. After all, he was a stranger who was preaching about a strange new god, but little by little, he became one of us. He went fishing alongside us, he told people stories about the crusade, he told us about meeting you and seeing the queen, and the songs he used to sing, they just made you want to stop and listen. Well, eventually, the fisherwoman looks down, we became very close. We started to plan a wedding. My brother didn't seem to mind at first, but after we got married, well, that's when he lost it. He became violent, threatened to hurt us. I tried to talk to him, but Melissa shakes her head sadly. We even thought about leaving the village, but when my brother found out he lost his mind completely, Markle is strong and no one else in the village dares challenge him. It was a miracle that I managed to escape, but my husband is still there. He didn't make it out of the village. I don't know what's happening to him. Please help us. Alrighty, I'll help you with that too. Thank you. I'll head back to the village. I'll do my best to keep him from flying into rage, but please hurry. I'm afraid he might do something terrible. We are finally done the 8 million conversations after we get back. Alright, so what we're going to do now is going to go sell a bunch of stuff. do our Crusade Affairs thing in the next video. Oh, I'll sell things, and then we'll do Crusade Affairs in the next video, and then we'll head out into the world. For now, though, I'll leave you guys here. Like always, if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. I will see you next time. Take care.